Hello and welcome to Kinboshi Radio here on the Kinboshi Sumo channel. Nick, we have a basho coming up, a new year after a spectacular 2025. How you feeling about it?
Feeling pretty hopeful about it.
Haha!
A solid way to start the year.
Yeah, and I mean, hopeful is interesting. I don't know if this is what you meant by it, but like 2025 was so exciting that it seems hard to imagine 2026 can live up to it, except that we get to deal with the repercussions is a negative word, but I want to say ramifications, repercussions of last year, specifically just in the fact that we have entered a big three era. A big piece of conversation for me and you anyway last year was the idea that we were in this two Yokozuna era. And now it's a big three because Aonishiki, our beautiful baby boy, is not a baby anymore. He's an Ozeki, Nick.
Yeah, it's wild. Like, I know when we talked early last year about like, oh, who's going to get up to this rank? And he was so wildly consistent and so good that he shot up faster than even we thought. And we've been hyping him up for 2 years.
That's the thing. So I'm gonna tease a little bit, but our middle segment here, we are going to play our Yung-zeki game again of who can become an Ozeki. But you and I, in that conversation, neither of us picked him for it because we thought he was just barely gonna miss the chance, simply because he was starting the year in Juryo. I don't know if people remember that. He was in Juryo for January of last year, and then ended the year as an Ozeki, which is wild. Also, like, just another throwback, Sean and I on the podcast. Check out the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you want weekly coverage. We do that audio only over there. Just look for Kinboshi Sumo. But Sean and I did sort of a year-end awards. So as we were recapping the year, I reminded Sean, like, do you recall that Takerufuji was not just not retired in January, he was actively fighting in January? Do you remember that, Nick?
That feels like way longer than a year ago.
It feels so long ago. I know. And so all that stuff changed. Takerufuji was the only Yokozuna in January. By the end of January, we had Hoshoryu Yokozuna. Immediately we get Onosato in there, and then the Aonishiki storyline behind it, leading to this big three era. So again, just like I hinted at the beginning of this episode, it's hard to imagine 2026 surpassing the wild storylines of 2025 until you remember that because of 2025, we have now this big three era of Aonishiki, Onosato, and Hoshoryu all at the top, where Aonishiki will be trying to match those two and rise to Yokozuna himself. Do you think he can? Like, how do you feel about that Aonishiki push now that he's at Ozeki? He's proven he constantly overshoots our expectations, which again, were high. We've been talking about this guy since 2024.
That's a really good question. I think he could do it. I mean, I do think he's on the same level as the current Yokozuna.
I mean, Hoshoryu's never beaten him now,
Nope.
you know?
No. He's shot up just as fast, and like I think he could do it this year.
Yeah. I think,
which is funny because it would actually leave Ozeki so open right now because it's unfortunately Kotozakura is just doing okay.
Yes. Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. So Kotozakura had an extremely disappointing year last year in that it's a lot of, he had only one losing record if memory serves, but it's a lot of just grinding out single digit positive records. Now, admittedly, his September is the one where he pulled out with injury, but it was on pace for 11 wins and looked like he was contending. But I'm out here calling this a big three because I think it is. But is there any chance in your mind that Kotozakura can force this to be a big four? Because when 2025 started, Kotozakura was the story, not even Hoshoryu, right? Because that insanely exciting November of 2024 between Hoshoryu and Kotozakura racing for the end there, Kotozakura beat him. Everyone was rooting or was picking Kotozakura to be the next Yokozuna, and then everything flipped. Was last year just an off year? Can Kotozakura be healthy now, or whatever was wrong? Can he force this into a big four era where both our Ozekis and both our Yokozunas are contending in January?
I think if he performed like he did before the slump, he 100% could.
Yeah.
He could be another, like, so what? Oh, gosh, I'm blanking on his name. The one who was Ozeki for a long time, the boulder, like everybody.
Goedo?
No, Takerufuji.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I think my expectations for Ozeki are like set at that because he held it out for so long.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're so right, and it's tough because we've talked about it on this pod before, where Takakeisho is one of those awkward ones where actually overqualified as an Ozeki, but probably fairly underqualified to be a Yokozuna and that kind of stuff. But the problem with that is he performed at Yokozuna level, just not consistently enough. So could Kotozakura be the same thing? He's going to be 30 this year. He's already got one surgically repaired knee, and then was having troubles that September he pulled out of was because he actually had injured the other knee. There was some internal bleeding around there, but no tears, if I remember right. Phil and I think, had a little bit of a conversation about that when it was happening. Um, so like injuries are a concern when you're a guy that size. It's going to wear on the body. Lest we forget, Takakeisho, like you said, was still the man out there housing people until his neck just gave up on him because of the way he fought and the injuries he was sustaining. Are Kotozakura's knee is going to be the same thing is what worries me.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. It's like I'm not like, I guess I am a little bummed with his performance, but it's like he's. I don't know. I don't know if I see him forcing it up to a 4 this
Yeah.
year.
Do you think? I think yeah, because I think the real thing we'd be looking for is, can he contend for a Yusho or can he win one? Forget contend. We know he can contend still as long as he can stay healthy for 15 days. Can he win a Yusho? Is there a world where instead of his stablemate Kotoshoho getting a surprise Yusho, that it's Kotozakura this year?
That's a good question. Because when he won, he was fighting a lot of the same people.
Yeah.
Shodai, Hiradoumi, Oho. Like Oho was like his only loss that time. Fought Wakatomi Kage Abi. He fought Hoshoryu. He fought Onosato. He could.
I
He's
know
fought. It's
it's
not
it,
that different from when he won.
I know it's all about injuries, and so it's the same kind of thing. Like we mentioned, Takakeisho being the overqualified Ozeki. We've talked always in the past about Daisho being the overqualified Sekiwake, like the Sekiwake who fights like an Ozeki but never got there. And so Kotozakura, it's that same thing. Can he step it back up? Especially with the absolute freight trains on top of him in this era, and maybe more guys coming up behind Nick.
I hope so.
I feel like I wanna push us ahead. If you had anything else you wanted to talk about these high rankers, let me know. But otherwise, I was gonna push us forward into what we are calling the second annual edition of the Yung-zeki Sweepstakes.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Last year's the first time we did this. I had prepared a list of young Rikishi who I thought could emulate potentially what Onosato did. In 2024, it was Onosato who was the freak, streaking up at age 24 and becoming and Ozeki. Actually, he was 23 at the time, I think. He became Yokozuna at 24, which interestingly, same age as Hoshoryu. But the moving aside, it was Onosato in 2024, but now in 2025, it's Aonishiki who's the freak that everyone's going to need to match. And he did it in a lot of ways more impressively because he was in Juryo in January. So when I list some of these names off, we are not saying that these people can necessarily do or would be Aonishiki. I don't know. We're kind of just looking for who are young Rikishi that could make their Ozeki run this year. Because Nick, right? Like Aonishiki and Onosato, those guys are freaks, right? There's no way we're ever. I would have said after Onosato, we're never going to see something like that, and then Aonishiki did his own freakish show.
3 years in a row seems impossible.
It's gotta be. The math has gotta be against it. Especially we were talking before pod, and you were just talking about Aonishiki's consistency, right?
Yeah, where he doesn't go below 11. Has he ever gone below 11 wins?
Not as a Sekitori. Oh, 10. I think he had one 10-win tournament for his Juryo debut, but I believe he's
Yes.
never not won double digits as a Sekitori, as a ranked wrestler fighting 15 days in a tournament.
You are exactly correct. 12-3, and the rest are 11s, and then last time he got 12-3
Brutal.
again.
It's so we've talked about like Onosato's body is what makes him a freak and he just manhandles people. Aonishiki's consistency is what makes him a freak. This is just like unheard of to never have slip ups. Again, to bring up Daisho, someone who has these massive consistent streaks that are like double digits but not quite good enough to get his Ozeki run. But the problem is he'll always slip up and get a 9. Wakataka Kage will always slip up and get a 7, 8, or 9, something like that. And Aonishiki, thus far, just doesn't slip up. It is impossible for him. That's the thing that we think can't be matched, but what could be matched is perhaps the results of a young Rikishi jumping up to an Ozeki. Sound fair, Nick?
Yes. Well, especially since I think some of the ones that we've aimed at are already like halfway through the Bansuke anyway. You have a little bit of advantage there.
Some of the guys we're about to talk about have a way easier journey than Aonishiki did last year. And so I want to talk about a few things. A few podcast episodes ago, Phil and I did an episode called Peak Rikishi, where I went back to 1958 and analyzed what age do Rikishi generally achieve their peak ranking of their career, right? So like whether that means they capped out as a Sekitori, capped out as a Maegashira, capped out in the Sanyaku, Ozeki, Yokozuna, whatever. And the interesting thing about that, Phil and I basically found that there's a magic number across all those rankings 20 between 26 and 27. 26.5 is the actual age of peak Rikishi, when you probably will reach your peak rank. So again, we went back to 1958 and pulled every Rikishi from there and used that to develop, just to analyze the mean, median, and mode, and then did a quartiles on either side to have standard deviations. Doesn't matter. Bunch of math nerd stuff. 26 and a half for Ozeki is the spot on average age. So anyone who's like starting the year at 27, we're not saying that they can't become an Ozeki or a Yokozuna, right? Like Kotozakura's grandfather, I think, became Yokozuna at 33. Anything can happen. In recent memory, Shodai was over that number. Mitakeumi was over that number. Tochinoshin was over that number. All those guys when they achieved Ozeki. But if we're playing the numbers, you're looking for someone who's 26 or younger. So that kind of eliminates some choices. For instance, right off the bat, a couple of guys who were in our yes-no conversation, one who was a big one, was Takerufuji. Well, he's 26. He's turning 27 here early in the year. So I'm going to be honest, Nick. I know my answer, but Takerufuji, yes or no for Ozeki in 2026?
We talked about it a little bit. I had to put him at a no at this point.
Me too.
I think the injuries have taken him out. I don't know that he bounces back to be what he was.
I need to see it. Before I believe that he recovers from that bicep injury, I need to see it. And he came back. He's probably not fully healthy, so we can give him some credit for that. But 8-7 from Juryo 7 was his performance last tournament. So while he technically is around that age of peak Rikishi, I think injuries have damaged him. And for that, I give some frustrating blame to the institutional ways of Isegahama Beya. That's what they do. Terunofuji fought on no knees for 4 or 5 years, and now he is the stable master, and he told Takerufuji to keep fighting on a torn bicep, or at least didn't stop him from doing it if it was Takerufuji's decision. So he's got to be a no for me as well. Another one. So, and here's what's interesting. So Takerufuji was the surprise story of 2024. Onosato was less surprising. Him breaking 100+ year record to win a Yusho on his debut. He's this golden darling, came out of college, and now we might never see that again. He fought injured on that ankle to win that tournament, and then fought injured on that bicep last year, and it might be gone. But last year, 2025's surprise story was Kotoshoho. In this impressive era of dominant stars, he broke through. He actually stole a Yusho. It was not Kotozakura, his stablemate, it was Kotoshoho, who interestingly was the young golden darling in 2021, maybe 2022, I believe. He's the guy who screamed up into the Joey gene at age 22, and then it all kind of fell apart for him after a bad injury as well. Nick, at age 26, do you think Kotoshoho, yes or no, has a chance of being an Ozeki this year? He's already got the Yusho.
I don't think so.
Yeah, me neither.
The follow-up performances after that just weren't there.
Yeah. He was really bad in the turn, and like he had some absolute awful tournaments. He's one of these guys who can be good. He's a win that matters, but he just doesn't seem to put it together. I don't know,
No, I think he's one of those guys like there's a lot of talent and there's a lot of good, but it's not going to be consistent.
Yep. So he is out of the running. But now here's the first one where let's go here. This was a guy who I actually, in our conversation last year, gave my pick as a yes. Hiradoumi. The reason I gave him a pick as a yes is he'd already been a Komusubi. He was the Sekiwake denied. He had a great Komusubi debut, should have gone up to Sekiwake, but because of rankings log jams, didn't get the promotion and then kind of fell off. Hiradoumi, though, had a miserable. He fought at Maegashira 3 and went 4-11 to end the year. He's still only 25. He'll turn 26 this year, so he is right in the sweet spot. But Hiradoumi, yes or no? A pick. In fact, spoiler, my two picks to win this last year were Takerufuji and Hiradoumi. So take all this with a grain of salt. But how do you feel about yeah. How do you feel about Hiradoumi?
I gotta give him a no too.
I know. I'm giving him a no this year. Same as you were just saying, Kotoshoho, I think at a peak he can do well, but that consistency's not there, and maybe it's fighting big body sumo in a small body is wearing on him or something. I don't know. What do you think?
Uh, I don't know what it is. Like, I feel like I want him to do way better, but he's not bad. Like, he is an upper Mega Shield wrestler for sure, but I don't know that
Yeah.
he's higher than, honestly, a Komusubi.
Yeah, I feel a little frustrated because now I feel like Sekiwake is a lot further away than it felt last year or whatever, but he might be one of these guys like we talk about Tobizaru, Ura, who deserve Joey Jean and constantly keep getting into that low Sanyaku, keep grabbing Komusubi, but then bouncing back down. That's kind of where the fate I feel for Hiradoumi now.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same opinion.
Yeah. How about, here's another one. So, newer to the scene, later start, college Yokozuna, but Onokatsu. Onokatsu is also under 26 right now, so he will turn 26 this year. So he is right in that sweet spot. And again, amateur level, college Yokozuna. Do you think Onokatsu can make a Yokozuna run or an Ozeki run this year? He certainly cannot make a Yokozuna run this year.
I was like, wow, you really got a lot of faith in him.
Yeah.
I don't know about him. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Oh, I think no. And the reason I think no is what I don't see from him is any kind of electric spark. I think he's good. I think he's strong. I think that he is someone who, especially like in college and in high school and in junior high and all that stuff, similar to your pick for this last year, Keen Bozon, who after January, I was blowing my gourd. I thought you were like a savant, and it didn't quite work out for us. And Keen Bozon has now aged out of this category, sadly. But like Onokatsu and Keen Bozon strike me as guys who just were always bigger and stronger than their opponents. And that maybe led to some of their success. And the Onokatsu problem is not that he got any worse now that he's a pro, but that the competition is so much better. You know what I mean? When I talk about his amateur bona fides, those are against inferior competition, is how I feel.
I actually think that makes a lot of sense after saying that. It's like there's a lot of these guys that like, they dip down a jury and they murder everybody, but they can't get above like make sure 10.
I know. Oh yeah.
It's like the level of competition is so different.
Yeah. You make a great Onokatsu and Juryo would be an embarrassment. Yeah, you're totally right. Like he's very good. The problem is when you're in Makuuchi, you are in the top 50 in the world. And less than that. You know what I, like there are only 42 wrestlers up there. So the fact that Onokatsu has so solidly made himself a stalwart in this division is amazing. However, I don't know if it's going further than that.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. How about this, though? Here's the first one. So, this is the last guy that I want to talk about in the 25 turning 26 range. Oho. He fought in November at Sekiwake and went 7-8, but he was really struggling and rallied at the end, so he's still at Komusubi. So, he's going to be starting from scratch. An Ozeki run is 33 wins and a Yusho, or Yusho equivalent, which usually means playoff loss, hopefully to something like a Yokozuna or an Ozeki. So he's nowhere on that numbers game right now. He'll have to start from scratch. But could he do an Aonishiki 3-11s in a row and either get a playoff loss runner-up or a Yusho? He's, like you said, versus Aonishiki last year, enormous head start fighting at Komusubi right now. You've talked before. He beats guys like Onosato. He beats guys like Hoshoryu. He's really good. What do you think about Oho at age 25 turning 26?
That's a tough one because I want to just obviously be like, well, yeah, of course. Because like I'm looking at 2024, 1 gold star, 2025, 2 gold star wins.
Huh?
Like he can fight everybody above him.
His grandpa's one of the greatest of all time.
I'm gonna give him a yes just because I have a lot of faith in it, but I don't know that my brain agrees.
I know, me too. I'm giving Oho a yes because he has so many advantages in his favor, and he's proven he can beat top competition, and he's already fighting up at the top. But I totally know what you're saying. The idea is the reason why the pick doesn't feel good, even though I'm agreeing with you and I'm picking it as well, is he just went 7-8 from Sekiwake. Why are we supposed to believe he's going to do it?
Yes.
But everything he's like he's we've talked about this with Onosato too or whatever, but like he is the Rikishi you'd build in a lab. He's got the pedigree, he's got the physicals, he's got the performances on paper. It just should happen.
And then something like, oh, he lost to Hiradoumi and Ura and Takayasu last time. And you're like, what?
Yeah. Which again, those are fine losses. They're just not losses an Ozeki can take.
Yes. The
But I
rest,
love it.
Kirishina, Aonishiki, Hoshoryu, you're like, yeah, okay, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Even an Ozeki could lose there.
I love it. So Oho is the first one making the yes list for us, which is good because this is his last chance to make Ozeki as a young Rikishi, according to history. How about here's another one who is not on his last chance. We're now moving down into the guys who are 23 or 24, gonna be turning 24, 25 this year. So these guys are well within young Rikishi range. Some of these guys are young enough that they're still within young Yokozuna range. But the first one I want to talk about is Yoshinofuji. How do you feel about Yoshinofuji? He just fought at M5 and went 9-6. Not quite the numbers we need to start a run, but he'll be in the high Joey Gene, which I think the JSA will count if he can reel off 3 straight 11s. How do you feel about Yoshinofuji's chances?
Pretty positive about him. He hasn't gone negative like ever. And I think if he
That's a
can
great
piece
yeah.
together a little bit more, because
Yeah.
he went 9-6,
Yeah.
but he did beat Onosato.
Yep. And like that's the thing to me that he beat Onosato and Aonishiki in back-to-back days, I believe. He was the ultimate spoiler, where when Onosato finally fell back to the pack and Aonishiki had that chance to tie, surpass, whatever, then Yoshinofuji also was like, yoink, don't mind me.
Yes, exactly. And I'm like,
Mhm.
those were the contenders.
Yep. And he's another college star. He's recruited by Hakuoho. He was a Miyagino guy, but now fighting in Isegahama. Obviously, he's fighting against top competition every single day. Um, he needed to really get it together at the end of that tournament. Like he's proven that he's better than the field, like you're saying with that consistency, and like what we're saying, Aonishiki's superpower was his consistency, both in fighting style, where he constantly gets low, puts his head on their chest, and just drives forward. That consistency, but also in terms of the wins, always double digit. Yoshinofuji doesn't have that in the same way. He is consistent in terms of, like you said, constant winning records, but he's not Aonishiki levels. And losing to Kotozakura on day 12, excusable, but like, okay, you need to beat Ozekis if you want to be an Ozeki. But then the last 2 days, losing to Ichi Yamamoto and Takayasu are the two question marks. Because those two losses are the difference between a 9-win tournament and an 11-win tournament. And as we know, Ozekis preferably will get 3 11-win tournaments in a row. But I'm still with you. I'm still picking him. Those are just the question marks I have.
Yes. Where it's funny, because again, I love Ichi Yamamoto, but it's like when
Oh,
you beat two of the contenders and then lose to Ichi Yamamoto, you're like, what?
yep. I Ichi Yamamoto just rocks. He's one of the greatest stories in sumo. We always, again, we exaggerate his story, but the way I always like to say it is, he went from being a postman in rural Hokkaido. His parents told him to keep his safe government job, and he turned pro in sumo and proved everyone wrong with his weird freak noodle arms. And but he just is good. Oh, we're not talking about him right now. We're talking about Yung-zekis, and the next one I want to throw at you is actually only 23 years old. He's even younger than Yoshinofuji, who we were both picking, so he'll turn 24 barely in this next year. Can you believe Atamifuji is still only 23 with how long this guy's been banging bodies in the top division?
It's so funny because I expected him to be older because we've been talking about him for so long.
Yep.
Because when did he?
I mean, I believe he debuted at age 20, if I remember right.
Yeah, September 2023.
Yeah, wild, man. Guy is so
Oh
good.
wait, no, M15.
Oh no,
It
yeah,
might
you're
have
right.
been
He
early.
got bounced. He had a debut and then got bounced down right away. In his first ever.
Yes, that's what it was. So technically 2022.
Yep. Yeah,
is when we start
2022,
talking about it.
November of 2022. He rocks. Do you think Atamifuji can make a run at Ozeki this year? He was fighting at Maegashira 6, went 8-7. He's bumped up to Maegashira 5. He's technically on that Joey Jean cusp, and he's getting winning records. Will Atamifuji make his Ozeki run this year?
Oh, that's tough. I want to say yes.
It's so tough.
He's one of
Why?
two that I'm like, I don't get why you haven't done it already.
Ah, tell me why.
The
Tell me why. Yeah, yeah.
the wins stack up. He can beat all these people. He did super well in 2023. Had a
Uh-huh.
weird beginning of the start 25, then did really well, and then just did fine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, stop doing that. Go back to what you were doing.
Yep. You're you're exactly. I'm right there with you. The question marks with him are, why do you keep getting log jammed in Joey Jean? He has actually never made his Sanyaku debut, is another interesting thing. Now, that's not surprising when you remember that he's only 23 years old and his birthday's in September. Like, he's a young 23 as well. It just feels like, because we've seen him so long, that feels like a disappointment, but we know is not. Um, but I'm with you. I also would probably be tilting the scales towards yes with him, but that feels wrong because in Joey Jean, he's never done it. He had in 2024, he spent the entire year at Joey Jean, but it was nothing but 7-8s, 8-7s, and 1-6-9. Like, it's,
Yeah. Where I'm like, he just never pushed it past like the cusp, but like he was right there.
yeah. What's your final word on him? Just like, would you push him to yes or push him to no?
I'm gonna say yes, and it doesn't make any like for no real reason. I'm like, he can do it.
Listen, we got to take some chances because we didn't take chances last year. We were too conservative with Aonishiki, and look what happened. But I want to bring up another guy because this is going to be another tough one. Why is the former Ochi, the former Hakuoho, now Hakunofuji? Is that his new name? As all the
Yep,
Miyaginos have changed.
Hakunofuji.
Yeah, Miyagino, like rest in peace, Miyagino stable. It is officially dead. Um, as all the names have changed, but Hakunofuji is another one. So he's only 22 and a young 22. He will only turn 23 this year. So again, just like Atamifuji, plenty of time, plenty of meat on the bones. It's not a problem. But I think this is the guy you were hinting at, right? When you said, why haven't you done it already?
Yes, he's the
Yeah.
other one where I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't get you.
I know. He's so good.
He's
I'll go
he
on.
stacks up wins. He's drowning in gold stars.
Yeah. His Hoshoryu went in November. Guys, go back and watch it. His Hoshoryu fight was the fight of the tournament to me. No single fight over 15 days got me as hype and as excited as watching him body up and go through a Yokozuna. He's good. The skill is already there. I interrupted. Sorry, Nick, but I just wanted to emphasize it's already there.
Yeah, like I said, everything's there. Just do it.
Just do it. Yeah. And again,
I would put him way above Atamifuji in likelihood.
Okay. Because I was gonna say he was Maegashira 1 in November, but went 6-9, which is so frustrating. But he's still in the Joey Jean, so he could start a run right now. He's already in running range. Go, keep going.
I just in my head, I'm like, he's the one. Between the two, he's the one who's going to do it. But they're the two. I'm like, why aren't you doing it right now?
Yeah, and I think the hard part for both of those is Atamifuji came before Hakunofuji. Excuse me. And Hakunofuji, when he was Ochi, he was, in my opinion, he was Onosato before Onosato. And then the shoulder injury, the old shoulder injury, kind of flared up. He ended up having to get the surgery. He was still fighting a Miyagino at the time. And one thing that I really miss about Hakuo and why I'm sad that the stable's officially dead is he very much had a policy of take care of your injuries and come back healthy. But that is what slowed Hakunofuji down. That's why he didn't race up. But when we look at what happened to someone like Takerufuji, I think we would be hard pressed to say that Hakuho had the wrong idea, right? Takerufuji fought through injuries, and now his career might be done. High though it was early on, it's not going to be done. I'm just saying I had aspirations of Ozeki for that guy, and now put.
Same with Wakata Kakage. He took a very long time to heal, and he shot right back up.
Yeah, great point. When you actually take care of your body, oh, amazing! What happens? Look at this. I just think the Isegahama way is wrong. And I think that we get fooled into thinking it's not wrong because they're constantly producing top athletes. But the thing is, they have top recruits. I think that they are grinding 2, 3, or 4 guys into into the meal for every one that they push up who's lucky enough to not have had the devastating injuries. Or, of course, Terunofuji was a freak. Being able to do what he did on no knees was freakish. But anyway, yeah. So Hakunofuji, if we revert back to his youth days, which is insane, like he's 18, 19, he was Onosato. So I'm with you that he should. So this is the one you feel strongest about, you think?
100%. He's my top pick for it.
There you go. Yep, I like it. I like it. And again, he did in this segment last year. Neither of us picked him, and what we said because he was coming back from that shoulder surgery. And what we both said is, I want to see him reel off a bunch of 8 and 7s. I want him to just stick in the division, slowly come up, and prove that one, that he's healthy and he belongs there. And that's like exactly what he did. Now he came out better than we thought. He was 10 and 5 in January, 9 and 6 in March, then rolled off 3 straight 8 and 7s. But in one of those 8 and 7s from M4, he got a gold star, and then in the next one of those, he got another gold star, but also got a Shakunsho. Struggled last tournament with 6 and 9 from M1, but did get a gold star in that. So again, he's just doing everything we asked of him, and he's only 22 years old. I got one last one because we started this with Aonishiki, and I don't expect you don't have to bring up a ton on this, Nick, because I know I'm the junkie who's out there watching Makushita fights. But if we're looking for someone to actually do the Aonishiki as opposed to the Onosato, aka come all the way up from Juryo and make his way to Ozeki, Fujiryoga Masaharu, the former Goshima. He is only 22 years old, so we're talking the same age as Hakunofuji, who we just discussed. But he had Makushita Tsukedashi, so he came in at 60, went 6 and 1, went 6 and 1 in Makushita again, then 4 and 3 from Makushita 9, and then 6 and 1 from Makushita 5. So he's only ever fought in Makushita, which is good, right? He never fell down to lower divisions and stuff like that. Always has had a winning record, but in his Juryo debut in November, he won the Yusho 13 and 2. First time ever fighting 15 straight days, and he absolutely obliterated them to go all the way up to Juryo 3. So at Juryo 3 in January, he's right in that striking distance like Aonishiki was, where a big tournament here will jump him into those teen Maigashiras and he has time to make it. The only losses he had were to Asanoyama, former Ozeki, who's fighting in Juryo and is returned back up, and also Hakuyozan, who didn't have a good tournament, but that is actually a good win. Hakuyozan's a guy whose career has been destroyed by injuries, but is one of these dudes that everybody thought Ozeki when he was young and stuff like that. So we talk about good losses. He's a guy who it's so dumb, but for the sake of it, for the sake of the bit, and for Aonishiki, I would say he can do it. He is good. He's a monster. He wins every stinking match Oshidashi. He has yet to find anyone up in Sekitori ranks in Juryo that can stand up to him. He's an absolute bulldozer. He is what we thought Gonoyama was going to be. It's insane. I cannot wait for him to destroy Juryo again and for you to get some looks at him in Makuuchi, Nick.
Well, now you got me hyped for him.
I'm telling you, Fujiryoga is nuts. It's gonna be wild. I'm gonna give it to him. So to summarize at home, our final picks are that we think Oho has a chance to make Ozeki this year. We think that where is it? Yoshinofuji has a chance to make Ozeki this year. Atamifuji, Hakunofuji, and Fujiryoga. Dude, that'd be a huge year for Isegahama if both of
I
those
was like,
guys.
wait, there's a lot of Fujis in there.
That's 3 Fujis, man. So we're definitely going to be wrong. There's no chance. But hey, it's good to get hyped because look at Nick's January last year.
Yeah, maybe one of them will actually do it.
Yep. With those guys, exactly. But I don't think we think that any of them are winning in January. For that, I'd like to move us to our final segment, Nick, and pick both dark horses and favorites. Who is your dark horse? Who do you think actually stands a chance of coming from the outside and winning this thing, even though we have a big 3, maybe big 4 era?
I think anybody who listens to us is going to be shocked when I say that I'm still choosing Abi.
Abi, every time, baby. Break it down. So after a horrible November and a really rough 2025, why are you still riding the train?
It the the M7510 just like it doesn't register in my brain. So when he dropped down to M12, I'm like, there's literally nobody in that whole range who should be able to beat him more than like he should take like 2 losses
No.
before he moves way up.
Yeah. If he's healthy, if Abi is healthy at M12, like Mitakeumi, Tomokaze, Asakoryu, Oshoumi, Hatsuyama, Ryuden, Shishi, he should be blowing these guys up.
A lot of these guys are not used to fighting him either. So when it's like when you're 6
True.
feet away and he's somehow still reaching across to get you in the throat,
That's the
it's
thing.
hard to.
His wingspan is unreal, and so the distance he can keep them at is definitely unnerving for these guys. Even someone like Nishikifuji, who I like a lot, but likes to fight Oshidashi, Abi can keep him at arm's length and neutralize all of his power. Nishikifuji is going to have to fight Abi on the belt if he wants to beat him, because I don't think he can go Oshidashi at his own game.
No, and I think in that range, you're probably more used to like Ichi Yamamoto, who does something similar. But if you
Yeah.
go at that thing and that's what you're going to get, you're going to get rocked.
Yeah, I agree. I love that pick. I've been riding the Daisho train, but I no longer think at M4, I don't know. At 10 and 5, he was good, but he wasn't contending last time. So I'm stuck, Nick. There's a few guys. So Takasago's stable's having a little bit of a resurgence down at the bottom. Asakoryu at M15. Asanoyama, former Ozeki, returns at M16. And Asa Hakuryu makes his debut, their Mongolian, at M17. And I tell ya, I don't know. I really want to pick Asahaku Ryu here. This is an exciting guy. I don't know what happened. So when he started out, so his 2023 was pretty insane. Maezumo 3-0. He goes 7-0 and wins Jonokuchi. He goes 6-1, doesn't win Jonidan, but goes immediately to Sandan Mei, where he goes 7-1, loses a playoff, so he gets a Jun Yusho playoff loss, but should have gotten that Yusho. Then in Makushita, his first ever Makushita, he goes 6-1, another playoff loss, but should have won that. The way he was performing in 2023 are Aonishiki, Onosato, Ochiai, aka Hakunofuji. He was an absolute freak in 2023. Everybody's looking at this guy like he is going to obliterate Sumo. And then something happened. He gets into high Makushita, goes 3-4, 3-4 again, bounces back with a 6-1 Jun Yusho, then 4-3, 3-4, 5-2, 3-4, 3-4, 5-2, 5-2. And then finally in July, so like I don't know what happened in those middle years. That's confusing to me. But July, September, November of last year, 7-0 Makushita Yusho, 13-2 Juryo Yusho, 10-5 from Juryo 2, lost out to the stud Fujiryoga, who we said, like, if you can promise me that I'm only getting 2023 and 2025 Asahaku Ryu, then this guy is about to absolutely feast on these bottom of the Bonsuke boys. I think that's the pick that I actually want as my dark horse, but I can't do it to my boy Sean. If he's going to be here in the low Makuuchi ranks, I have to pick Asanoyama. Former Ozeki, he's saying he wants to make one last Ozeki push in his career. I don't think that's going to happen. He's 31 years old, and he doesn't have the speed and the Tachi-ai that he used to have. But how can you ever pick against this Asanoyama story? The first guy ever in history to twice drop down to Sandan, come back, drop down and come back. He's on back-to-back 12-win Yushos in Juryo. He looks good. Like, Nick, low-key, the bottom of the Bonsuke might be the most exciting matches this time with guys like Asahaku Ryu, Asanoyama, Abi is down there. We've got another former Ozeki Mitakeumi. Like, the bottom of the Bonsuke might be wild in January.
The best part about Asanoyama is that he was a genuine surprise to me because he was gone for so long. I thought he retired. I straight up forgot about him.
Sure.
So when his name popped back up, I was like, oh my God. I'm like, you're still here.
Yeah. He didn't give it up. And that's kind of awesome, right? Like, we saw in that match against Ichi Yamamoto, don't go rewatch it, but it was gross. Like
Oh, yeah.
you could see what was happening with tendons and muscles under that skin, and it was kind of gross. So, like, the fact that he stuck with this, even him just fighting another full tournament at Makuuchi, is just what I want to see. And I would really love it to be 10, 11, 12 wins in a Jun Yusho, 13 wins in a Yusho. I would like to see this. So if you're picking an old school guy in Abi, I'm picking an old school guy in Asanoyama, and I cannot wait for this Basho. But Nick, who's actually going to win?
I'm gonna go with Aonishiki.
Yeah, give me why. Why? So the newest of the big three, over our two Yokozunas, but currently the reigning champion. Why you got Aonishiki?
I think. Well, we talked about a little bit. Onosato injured a little bit, had to drop out at the very end, so that could cost him the 1 or 2 matches. That would be it. And Aonishiki can consistently beat Hoshoryu. I think also it's like, he just got promoted to Ozeki. Like, he's fired up.
I think so too, because the thing is, normally we would talk about an Ozeki slump, but we already mentioned it. Aonishiki's superpower is consistency. Nothing seems to phase him. So it would be insanity to pick against him, right?
I think so.
And so enter Rick. With insane. But it's not insane. Here's the thing. I'm picking Onosato because in November I said I kept picking Hoshoryu and I still think Hoshoryu is great. But I was like, until I'm proven wrong, I have to keep picking Onosato. So you might be saying, well, Rick, it was Hoshoryu and Aonishiki in the playoff last time. Weren't you proven wrong? I don't think so. He dropped out because of the shoulder injury, but he was in that race. We were going to have a 3-way playoff at the end. And he still looked like the dominant force. So you were talking to me before the pod, and I think you were right that him pulling out of last tournament to you felt more like he is injured, let's not make it worse, not, oh God, he can't fight.
Yes.
And
where I think
truly,
he's at the point where he's truly like, if he pushes it and it's like, oh, now you're Takerufuji, he can rest, he can take his time, and then come back and be the dominant person.
Right. It doesn't matter. You already locked up a winning record, Andrew Yokozuna anyway, and who's going to be ashamed of that performance? It was already good. So, in my opinion, he still hasn't been bested by these two in the big three. So, I'm hoping that that's what it is, and that the shoulder was quickly recovered because he took the rest when he needed and didn't put additional damage on it. And so if all three of those guys are healthy, if Hoshoryu, Onosato, and Aonishiki are all healthy, I'm going to pick Onosato every time. So I'm assuming he's healthy, and I'm going to pick him. Feel bad.
Why? Just because he's gotten 5 Yusho in the last 2 years?
He's 24, 25 years old. Yeah, exactly. We're talking about how important age 26 is. He might have 10 Yushos by the time he's 26, like Terunofuji's career total.
I could 100% see it.
Yeah. So I just can't pick against him, but I would not be surprised for any of those big three to take it down. With that said, anything else you got to share, Nick?
No.
Yeah. I cannot wait.
We have imparted all of our wisdom.
It's all gone. And thank you for doing this. This has gotten me so hyped. Like I was saying before, I'm like, oh, how could 26 live up to 25? But after just sitting here talking to you about this for 45 minutes, I'm like, I cannot wait for this year and for Sumo to come back. This is going to be a good one. All right. With that said, thanks for listening, everybody. Talk to you again soon.